Hi guys! So, as some of you may know, especially if you follow me on Instagram, I started learning Mandarin Chinese in about September of last year. It has been a crazy ride and I have learned so much. I wanted to learn a more popular language and I really love Hanzi, and so I decided I would start that journey. It has been a wild ride, and I just passed my HSK1. I'm going to put it into maintenance mode over the summer so I can work on my JLPT. But before I finished my final exams for the semester, I wanted to quickly upload a video showing my study routine for how I am studying beginner Mandarin. So, especially with Japanese, I am used to studying on my own and then asking for help when I need it. But with Mandarin Chinese, I really knew that I needed to get some help with the tones and pronunciation, especially in the beginning. So, I started taking classes at my university, and every sort of class, I try to get a good one sheet of what was talked about, what was new, any example sentences, and then I will decorate it as best as I can with washi tape, stickers, kind of 5 or 6 pens that I use to make a good color scheme, just because if I can make it aesthetically pleasing, I will be way more likely to go back and look at it later, and that just helps me get kind of a good one sheet down of whatever we covered in class, and then later it is easy for me to go back and look at. The next important thing is going to be learning Hanzi, which is probably the most difficult thing for a lot of people in my class, and it's very difficult for me, but I find it extremely rewarding. So I bought a grid notebook off of Amazon, and I started writing down any of the new characters that we would pick up in our class or our lab, and then try to write them down as much as I can. It's not something I'm super consistent with, but I have started to do it a little bit in my iPad, which helps me kind of keep track with less kind of a space restriction. So I'm leaning more towards that, but this notebook has been a huge help to me. If you hang out on Study YouTube in general, you probably already know about GoodNotes, but I am going to continue to sing its praises. I use it a lot for all my classes, but especially for Mandarin Chinese. I have a little folder with a PDF template that I bought and downloaded, and then I keep track of each individual character that we're learning in class, and I can write it down as many times as I want to, because if I run out of space, I just erase a line and start again. I can keep track of stroke order, general meanings, what kind of words it's used in, and then quiz myself week by week and make sure that I am on top of everything that we are learning. The other thing that GoodNotes is amazing for is condensing notes. I have loved condensing my notes into kind of one or half a page explanations in GoodNotes, and then it's easy for me to go over before a test. Just examples of things that seem similar but are different, days of the week, how to talk about the weather, as well as just kind of any grammar points that come up. It helps me to remember them by going from the notes that I showed you earlier that I take in class and then kind of transporting them into this, especially because once I get around to doing this, I know a lot more about the grammar point and I can turn it kind of into my own words, which helps me have a way to remember it that is a little bit more personalized than how it was explained to me in class, which eventually is just going to make it so that it's easier for me to recall and use in actual conversation with people. The next big thing for me would definitely be our textbook. So we use the New Practical Chinese Reader in our class. We have the textbook and the workbook, and I do like some aspects of this textbook, but it is definitely not one I would choose for self-studying. I would say if you're in a class, this is pretty solid, but do not use this as your sole way of learning Mandarin if you are on your own. It has some good conversation points, and you kind of learn along with some of the characters in the story, which is quite cute. It also has the pinyin as well as the characters, and then has practicing and everything like that. I do really wish it had more example sentences and was a little bit heavier on practice. Even in the workbook, there's not that many questions, so I do actually use an HSK prep book along with this on my own. And you knew that this was going to come up, and it's Anki. I use Anki even for Mandarin Chinese because I need to remember many different words and many different characters at the same time. So putting together an Anki deck with anything that we learn in class, some stuff that we go over in the textbook, characters, anything like that, and then I usually try to do about 10 new words a day. I might bump that up to 15 since we're getting closer to finals, but it makes sure that I can be on top of new words, so that I know exactly what I'm doing when I get to class, and I don't sound dumb trying to make up new words in my head when I forget what's going on. But for now, that is how I am studying Mandarin Chinese right now. I will keep you guys updated as things change, especially in the fall when I come back to this language. But happy studying. I'm hoping to be a little bit more consistent with my uploads. Everybody do your best, and let's keep going.